What's going on? me and a couple friends made a For Honor filthiest butthole tier list. Pardon me. So I'm gonna be going over it. Get ready for this shit. Alright, so here it is. This is the big list here. First up at the top, we've got squeaky clean and spotless and clean, able to work with, yuck, filthy, and then give it a second, it'll come down. Absolutely evil. So I've done some actual research for this video, and I've done research on like each of the characters' backgrounds and what they actually are. And this is how the list has been formed through it's like through status, like social ranking in medieval hierarchy, and just what they do, you know what I'm saying? So like if they're clean or not, it's quite simple. First up on the list is my boy Medjay. This is a bit of a shit picture. I reckon, or me and my friends reckoned, he'd be up in squeaky clean. And I'll give you a reason in a sec. It's stated in the law that Medjay is a what is it called? Like the king of Egypt or some shit. Emperor. Something along those lines. They're protectors of the emperor, right? So you'd think at such a high status, having to protect the emperor would want some nice smelling fellas around him, you know what I'm saying? So, I believe they are made to wash constantly. Got to be squeaky clean to keep the emperor in tip-top shape. Not one little bit of stank can enter his nose. Alright, now we're on to the spot list here. We got Afura, Warmonger, and Shaolin. I wasn't really able to find much information about Afura because, I don't know, actually. I don't have a reason. I just didn't try very hard to search for information. Just simply through the way she presents herself and her physical appearance, me and my friends have believed she deserves top of the spot list here. So, Warmummy, they are a follower of fucking Apollyon's fucking ideas and the way she took things out. They want to continue her reign, right? So, they would try and be as closely physically connected to Apollyon, and I could bet $100 million trillion Apollyon was fucking clean. She'd be spotless, not one evil stank on her. So I believe they would be pretty high up on the list. So Shaolin's a monk, and I bet, in the whole time that he's been alive, he's probably never had a bath, yet he's somehow just clean. Because they just got, that whole new level of spirituality. They are just so in peace, they just don't get filthy. This fucking picture here with Shaolin and Conqueror. Conqueror looks fucking... Okay, now we got Clean, which is Centurion, Nuxia, I think that's Lawbringer, Warden, Kensei, Orochi, fuck, I'm going too fast, Nobushi, come on, keep going, Raider, Warlord, this picture's so shit, Tiandi, and, I can't tell who that is. Alright, so now we got Centurion. Centurion is the standard Roman warrior. Probably not the cleanest person in the multiverse, I reckon, but clean enough to make it to the top of the clean tier. Because I bet at least they got a weekly bath or something along those lines. I think Lawbringer also falls underneath a pretty similar roof. He's just a little bit less than Centurion on the clean tier because he's a big guy, you know. He's probably collecting some sort of residue between them cheeks. Now for my boy Warden, the most simple of characters. He is considered, it's said in the story mode, Wardens are pretty standard warriors. And it makes me think that they're probably pretty standard on hygiene as well. Not too awful, but they're definitely not the best of the best. Now we're getting into the noticeably smelly characters. I reckon Kensei would make the first notably smelly character. It's like you have to be like sniffing out for it to notice the stink. You can just like tell from the way he acts, the way he looks. He looks like he smells. Honest. Samurais are normally meant to be like hired like mercenaries, right? So I don't think a mercenary would be able to clean themselves very well, depending on the amount of money they're getting. But for Orochi, I reckon he's basically like a small Kensei, and I reckon it's due to the smaller surface area, he's able to collect more stink, not by a lot, but just by enough to have him higher up, lower down the list than Kensei. Nobushi, Nobushi. Her entire, like, from the clit to the top of the ass crack is probably rank, just by looking at her alone. That's my beliefs. Here we are. Now we got Raider. I reckon he doesn't, like, for a Viking at least, he isn't stinking, like, comparatively to every other Viking. He isn't as smelly, but he's hairy as fuck. Warlord, similarly to Raider, I don't think he smells worse than Raider actually, just by like looking at the picture. But he is a lot more hairy. It's like you can't see the hole, no matter like you could be digging and not be able to find it. Tiandi is like probably worse smelling than Warlord, because he is quite egotistical. Like I bet he thinks his shit don't stink, so he doesn't like bathe himself correctly. He's just like, these people don't like the way I smell. They'll have to cope with it. Who's an interesting case, because no one remembers he's even in the game. Like, when you go to fight him, you're like, oh, who is that? Because you don't recognise him, he's just a guy. Anyway, Zonhu, I know nothing about his character. He is so boring and lame, I just had to put him in here somewhere. Lux is pretty similar to Zonhu. A lot more people remember she's actually in the game than Zonhu. It's just not as very many people who enjoy her at all. I reckon she does smell, just by like looking at her face. Now for the able to work with tier, we got Griffin, Peacekeeper, Kyoshin, Berserker, and little old pirate. Then it's gonna start getting funny around here. And by funny, I mean funny smelling. Griffin may be an elderly gentleman, but I believe personally that he still has some holding on. He may not be the best of the best, or even the worst of the worst, but he is still holding on with all his might. I had believed that Peacekeeper would be higher up on the tier list as well, but the council decides who has the yucky bum, and Peacekeeper sadly fell down upon the able to work with. She's it's good, but there's better options. Ocean falls in a pretty similar place to Peacekeeper, where you'd believe it'd be higher up the list, but once again the council has spoken. Maybe it was altered due to their personal perspective of battling a Kyoshin, but who knows. Now we're getting further down the list. For Berserker, he is towards the bottom of the able to work with here, because he's not like disgusting, but he is still a wild fucking jungle person. At the bottom of the able to work with here, we have Pirate, which makes a lot of sense for a fucking stinky pirate out on the seven seas. You'd expect him to be kind of gross, but like, she's not that bad, I bet. Now for Yuck here, we got Black Prior, Conqueror, Shinobi, I think, Aramusha, Jormungandr, Shaman, and Zhang Jun. Black Prior is too busy being trying to be edgy to bother to wash himself, so he's probably stinky, probably brown. Conqueror is the opposite. He's too busy fucking being annoying and ugly to clean himself, so he's probably stinky and brown. Shinobi's it's meant to be like a ninja, right? So ninjas are always digging around, trying to hide in dirty places. They're probably hiding in a pile of fucking shit, trying to be sneaky, but all it's doing is making him stink worse. Aramush is kind of unique. He doesn't look like he'd be that gross, and you don't think he'd be that gross, but he is that gross. You can just my psychic powers are telling me. Yorm's rank, he's just rank. He probably showers. Doesn't even shower. He goes swimming in a river once a year, fucking to clean himself. It's not even cleaning himself, it's making him grosser.
Shaman, she's probably filthy as fuck, but, like, you know, it's probably worth it. Like, she's like, there's no way to explain her. Zhang Zhong, despite how sick of a character he is, like, everything about him's just sick. I hate to say he smells. Like, you don't want to be around him for too long, or you're going to be, like, coughing. Got almost done. We got in the filthy tier Gladiator, Hitakiri, and Highlander. Gladiator gets top of the filthy tier with the reasoning behind him being, as a gladiator, you're probably going to be fighting, sitting in a hole waiting to fight too much to kill, to wash yourself properly, and like probably some damp, gross holes as well. Hitakiri's meant to be like some Japanese, like, death character, like the one who Grim Reaper souls, yeah. But the only thing she is killing, oh, fuck, hold on, let me restart. The only thing that she's able to kill with is her evil asshole. I love Highlander. Highlander's my boy. But Highlander fucking smells. Like, it's like an orbit of fucking yuck around him. In the absolutely evil tier, we only have one guy, Shugoki. Shugoki. Man is so disgusting. He needed his own tier. I bet all that weight you'd have to dig, like pull and like just pull it apart just to even see it. But when you see it, it's like rotting. It's like black and rotting. It smells like death. And that was the Forerunner filthiest butthole tier list. Thank you for watching. Wait a second. There's a tier above squeaky clean. What? Wait a second. Valkyrie.